I'm here with Francesca of Francesca Eats Roses, who is a vegan expert and someone who I've wanted to talk to for a really long time about kind of veganism and a vegan diet and the impact that that can have on well-being. Francesca, I don't know if you can probably give a better introduction to yourself than I can. So I don't know if you maybe want to give a little intro to kind of who you are and how you came to kind of to veganism and a vegan lifestyle.
So my name's Francesca. I'm from South Africa, and I've been vegan since kind of the beginning middle of 2014, when it wasn't really a thing so much, at least in South Africa. And I became interested in veganism because I was following a lot of food accounts on Instagram, and Instagram was just kind of getting going, and it quickly became like my little place to obsess about food. I still am in recovery from the eating disorder until, yeah, I don't know how I feel about in recovery.
I think it's, as someone who has experienced an eating disorder, a lifelong process, right?
Yeah.
You go through it as you go, and you take it day by day.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. And yeah, I just came across different accounts that were sharing vegan recipes and vegan meals, and I was just very curious, like, we can make pancakes without eggs, and what are like all these different ingredients, and became interested in how people were substituting and making really delicious looking recipes in a different way. And just naturally, as I started kind of looking at these recipes, these accounts were also sharing why they were creating vegan food, and a lot of it was what they were sharing was around the ethics and the sustainability aspects to what a vegan diet can help with. And the more I kind of went down the rabbit hole, there was more and more information, and I was just like, well, what am I going to do with all of this information? I have a choice. I can either just kind of shove it under the carpet and forget about it, or I can change my lifestyle. And the messages that I was hearing, like, really, really resonated with me, and I couldn't go back. So I got into veganism that way, and just through that would research a lot more through books and documentaries and YouTube videos, and just spent a lot of time like understanding the why, and then slowly transitioned my diet, very slowly, like over 6 months. I really took my time with it. And yeah, I haven't really looked back since. If you can hear lots of outside noise, it is because I'm on like a tropical jungle in Nicaragua, and there are lots of insects, and there's a fan, and it's hot, so I also apologize for external sounds.
It sounds so peaceful, so peaceful and beautiful. Much nicer than where I am, in kind of right in the centre of London. Although it's not that hectic here at the moment, obviously, but
yeah.
So what is it that you love about being vegan? Like, what is it that you really relish, you really enjoy?
Well, the first thing that just came to my mind now is that I never actually cooked at all growing up. And only when I went vegan did I start cooking, because like my parents weren't doing the vegan thing, and it was kind of like, well, kind of make your own food if you want to do this whole vegan thing that was not understood initially. Now it's like fully accepted, and like my mom's like plant-based and all of that good stuff. So I think just learning how to cook, really teaching myself that. And if I look back, like, it's a real fascinating, beautiful journey of how just that decision led me to a really awesome job within veganism, and it led me to cooking on retreats and meeting a whole bunch of amazing people and all kinds of like cool, interesting jobs, like even some work that I've been doing while traveling now. And it's all because I kind of just got into the kitchen because, I didn't really know how to like cook anything vegan. And so I think that's been the greatest like thing for myself. Of course, it's been such a joy to share how simple veganism really can be, especially now, like the amount of like meat replacements and dairy replacements and egg replacements and fish, like everything can be replaced. It's so easy now and it's so much fun. And I love sharing that with people and just showing how simple it can be. And I'm always so like amazed and inspired and humbled when people share the changes that they've made and just how like inspired they are by the brightness and the color and the diversity that can really come with veganism when you go beyond just like broccoli and potatoes and carrots. And I love broccoli, potatoes, and carrots too. That can also be done in very, very cool ways as well. And I think also from like a moral, like just what aligns with my morals is that like I love animals, I always have, and I don't want to contribute to an animal's death. As simple as that, really. I don't want to be part of that process, and as much as I can reduce my impact, like I'm not perfect, and I do my best. When I say I'm not perfect, I'm like I don't eat animals at the moment, but like as humans, we all have an impact in some way on the environment. Like that's what we do. We humans destruct and destroy and make a mess, and if we can kind of be a little bit more tidy and respect the environment around us, we can really make a difference and just alleviate a bit of pressure on the environment. And it takes a lot of resources to grow animals for food, to breed animals for food, and then to slaughter them, to transport them around the world, and then for them to be devoured in the space of like 5 minutes. It just doesn't make sense. There's too much strain on the environment, and also on a spiritual level, like there's the shock and the fear that the animals go through in that moment of being slaughtered, and that is stored in the body, in the muscle tissue, and I don't want to eat that, put that in my body. So many reasons why I love being vegan. Yeah.
I think what I found interesting about you, and one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, is that I think it's something that people seem to think is like really, really hard to do and really, really hard to introduce into your lifestyle. But one of the things that you've said to me and that you talk about is that actually it's just taking things kind of one step at a time, and kind of launching into it that way. Do you think that is the best kind of approach when it comes to kind of slowly becoming vegan?
I think it depends on the person. Like some people really love a challenge and they're like, veganuary, let's go. The whole month of veganuary, I'm just going to do it vegan. But there has been research done, and they do say that for the longevity of someone staying within a vegan diet, to go slowly, like with any change, like it takes time. There's a lot of new information, there's new ingredients, there's a lot to take in. So what worked for me and what I've seen work for other people is that slow transition, like slowly the information like trickles in. Like for me, I made like first my breakfasts were vegan, and then I just like stuck with that for like a good while, becoming comfortable with different breakfast ideas, and then slowly kind of made my way through my day. And by the end of it, I think it was like an afternoon like an afternoon work snack that was I think like an egg, or I don't know what it was, an egg was something, I don't know what it was. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I've come so far. It's just one little like afternoon snack. And that last little decision, that last little switch was really easy. And also what takes time is developing that confidence when you're in social situations to express that you're no longer eating animals, that you're wanting your family member or friend to cook something different, or that you're going to be bringing something instead in a Tupperware that now you stand out and are different and weird. And like that takes time. I remember like going to restaurants and like asking the waiter to leave something off my meal, like oh, like I'm making like the kitchen go out of their way, like, you know, maybe that's just me, but like it took time to like develop that confidence and a surety in like what my values were. That it was, yeah.
And I think especially when you kind of started becoming vegan, that was probably much more difficult, because nowadays obviously there are so many vegan options. I mean, I remember, this is maybe an odd way of putting it, but so I was living in LA a few years ago, and I kind of flirted with the idea of being vegan at the time. So while I was out there, I went the whole hog. I went fully vegan. There were loads of options. This was about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was really easy. But then I came back to London, and there was nothing here yet. And I found it really, really hard to kind of say no to things, to kind of put my foot down a little bit more, and also find things to eat that were interesting. You know, now there's so many options. Also kind of a lot of replacements for things. So, you know, if you're someone who loves cheese, there is vegan cheese and it is quite good. Like chocolate, vegan chocolate. I actually prefer some vegan chocolates to normal chocolate.
Yeah.
My boyfriend thinks I'm mad, but they really are delicious. You know, they taste like Nutella. It's divine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I can imagine that at the time it was much more difficult, whereas now I think maybe it's a little bit easier for kind of people to take it on board if they want to. Even if it's kind of a step-by-step process, I think there are definitely more options available, from what I've seen in kind of my research more recently.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, restaurants are like putting it out there that they've got vegan options, whereas before it was like, excuse me, anybody got something else? Yeah, it really has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that change has happened? What do you think has kind of led people more towards like becoming vegan and kind of choosing those vegan options? Apart from the fact that often they're more delicious than the rest of the options.
Yeah, good question. I think there's like a multitude of reasons. I think the like from various vegan activists have really been pushing the health message pretty strongly, because a lot of people make change when it relates to them directly. So I want to be healthier, I want to be fitter, I want to be stronger, you know, all of these things. People love that message. And then it's kind of like, okay, cool, like you understand that, but there's a whole nother side to veganism that, you know, take some time to understand, because it's just beyond the self. It's completely beyond the self. It's the environment, it's animals, it's the big picture, it's the food system, it's human rights. It's a whole situation beyond like the abs. Like, also the abs aren't guaranteed, but like, you know, like, but people love that message. People want to, like, you know, look better, be better, be better, be better, be better. How can I do more? And so that's been like the message that's been marketed. And there have been various documentaries that have shown that like vegan athletes are doing really well, and you know, that it's become trendy. And also what's with veganism, what has kind of come with it, fortunately or unfortunately, is just like the whole wellness trend of like clean eating and superfoods, and a lot of these stuff also aren't specifically vegan, like chia seeds and spirulina. Like, they're not exclusively vegan. You can be a carnist, which is another term. You can be a non-vegan eating person and eat all these superfoods, but like, it's kind of come with veganism. It's like, you're vegan. Oh, you must be gluten-free, right? No, like, they're not one and of the same. And so there's been like a whole like, foodie trend around veganism, and it like looks pretty and it looks nice on Instagram. And so, it's kind of become popular in that way. And then I think a lot of people have started to realize, wow, there's so much more than like this smoothie bowl on Instagram. So it's part and part of just like pop trends that people have like jumped on and realized, and maybe they get some free product in exchange for promoting something. But beyond that, there's like a huge big picture that people are realizing, and the earth is really crying out for help right now, and we're packed to the brim on this earth, and veganism is a way to help alleviate that pressure. And again, that's also coming through in research that's being published, and other documentaries, and people are waking up. People are woke already. Like, it's happening. And so I keep like getting distracted by looking at this volcano. It's just like,
oh, it's amazing.
So beautiful. And like, I'm talking about the earth, like this earth is like is so like forgiving, and is like regenerates so quickly, and is waiting like with open arms for us, like all the time, like with such an open heart all the time. And like, she's just like healing herself. And when we alleviate that pressure, she's like, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. So, yeah, it's many things. Like, there's solid research out there that people are like realizing that like veganism can help. There are many things that can help. Veganism is one of the ways, for sure.
I know that you might be a little bit skeptical about kind of the like, I guess, the attitude to being vegan that's more around kind of your physical appearance, and I am too. But what I am interested in is your kind of like internal well-being, and both from kind of like a physical perspective, like as in your physical health, not the way you look, and your mental health. Do you think that being vegan, or taking on aspects of a vegan lifestyle and slowly introducing it until you get to kind of a better point, can have a really, really positive impact on both that kind of internal physical health and mental health?
Yeah, I think for me, once I got the hang of how to eat a vegan diet, and I was eating enough, and I was eating enough diversity, like, I genuinely do feel good. And I've heard many stories of people close to me who have made changes and feel good too. I think what's really worked for me is that veganism is so aligned with my inner values that it just alleviates a lot of pressure. Like, I don't have to think about, should I be eating this piece of cheese or not? Like, that energy is like completely, like, I can use it for so many other things. So my energy resources and my mental well-being is at peace because I'm vegan, because it's like so aligned with what I believe in.
That's so beautiful. That's
like,
beautiful to hear.
Yeah, so I think if I had done all this research into veganism and be like, yeah, I really resonate with this, but I'm not going to apply it in my life, like, every meal would be like exhausting. Like, should I eat this? Like, a whole dialogue. So I don't need to have that dialogue anymore. So that already, like, that clears my headspace, that frees up like my energy, and that just allows for like no physical ailments related to like that kind of mental chatter to come through, because we know that like any kind of physical illness or ailment like is linked to our emotional and mental body. So yeah. So I also feel really strong. I feel pretty healthy. Like, I got great digestion. My mood's pretty stable as long as I eat enough variety. And yeah, I feel good. Also, having said that, like, I came from like, a long, many years of restrictions. So kind of eating enough like does like, I feel good. But I think like for athletes and people who are, eating really well and keeping up a good lifestyle, sleeping really well, they've reported great results, like faster recovery time and good strength gains and all of that. What's that documentary, Game Changers?
Yes.
Yeah, that shows like a very cool perspective of.
Well, one of the things, so I'm actually someone who, like, one of the things that I already do for my wellness, and I get a lot of pleasure from, is I weight train. Not like competitively, evidently, I don't have the guns for it, but I do weight train. I really like it. It's something that I derive kind of a lot of joy from doing. It's hard physical exercise. It's not for everyone, but it is for me, basically. And what I found fascinating about Game Changers is, I think, in the weight training world, people seem to think that, if you don't have meat protein, you're not going to build muscle, you're not going to tone up. Obviously, I don't do it to get big, I do it for my own kind of psychological pleasure, and because physically I like the way I look. But people really think you need that meat protein, and actually what that documentary showed was all that protein that you think you need from meat, you can actually get in vegetables, and kind of all natural plants and fruit and things that animals themselves consume, and we're just taking the nutrients from the animals, when really we could be taking the nutrients from the direct source, if that makes sense.
Completely. Yeah. Makes total sense. Yeah.
That kind of changed, like, really flipped a switch for me.
It's like what they said, like cutting out the middle cow. It's like going straight to the source.
And it's interesting, actually, because my boyfriend is also kind of much more seriously than I am into weight training, and he's completely switched everything. So he doesn't. Not every meal is vegan, but he now has vegan protein powder. He's cut out a lot of meat. He does eat like a little bit of fish, but it completely changed his perspective. And that's someone who's kind of super committed to that kind of lifestyle, that kind of ideal, where generally, meat is supposed to be the only way forward. So I think actually that's a great one for anyone who's interested in getting into the vegan lifestyle to watch. Cool. So I guess kind of onto a slightly more fun question, for me at least. I hope you like this one too.
I love fun.
I am kind of new to this. Like, even though it's something I have explored before, I haven't kind of explored it as much as I am doing now. And I really wanted to know if there were any kind of great sources of inspiration for recipes. I love cooking. Any kind of great inspiration sources for recipes, things to try. Obviously, we can't go to restaurants at the moment, although I wish we could, because I would love to do that. But any kind of great places where I can find things to cook at home. Maybe easy to start with, and then like a few more complex ones.
Well, I'm all about the easy stuff. But so one of my favorite resources is called Thug Kitchen. Ooh. And they have such a dirty mouth. Like, they are hilarious. Like, so many swear words and then great recipes. So just like the way that they describe how to make like the method or like the ingredients, it's just like hilarious. It's such a laugh. So I would definitely suggest going onto Instagram and checking out Thug Kitchen. Then there's always Bosch. Bosch is amazing. Bosch has a great Instagram channel. They're two guys. I think they're from London actually. And the way that they put their videos together is like really easy to follow, step-by-step stuff. So they're great. And then when I first went vegan, I would say my two major resources were Minimalist Baker.
Oh, yeah.
By minimalist, I mean like, you know, she's minimal. Like they got super simple recipes. And then Oshi Glows. She's amazing, a huge wealth, been in the game for ages, posting recipes and content for years. So I love those four. Yeah. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think. Also, when I first went vegan, a website and also Instagram page and Facebook called One Green Planet. And they have a lot of information beyond just recipes, like really easy, digestible articles on health, sustainability, ethics, and also they post a lot of new stuff from around the world. And then plant-based news. I love plant-based news. Also a great resource, and they have recipes there as well. So I would say, yeah, those 6. But I mean, honestly, like if you're craving anything, just type it into whatever search engine you use with the word vegan and it will come up. Like someone has already created it and has put it online for you. If you want to even go further, just like type in the recipe vegan easy and then you'll find like exactly what you're looking for. That's what I do.
I have a feeling I will be doing a lot of that.
Everything you can find. Seriously, it's amazing. Overwhelming sometimes. Wow, what recipe? Whatever takes the least amount of time and has the most stars on the recipe, like reviewed by 113 people, 5 stars. 5 minutes to make. Yes, that one.
And so finally, I quite want to know what your favorite vegan recipe is. Because if I'm gonna, obviously I've spoken to you, I'd love to, even though we can't share it together, make something that you would love. And then hopefully when this is all over and ideally I can come back to South Africa, we can share it.
I can come back to South Africa.
You can go back to South Africa or come to London. We can share it together because I'll have learned how to make it.
Okay, well, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Where are we going for? Where are we having our meal together?
How do you feel about dessert?
Dessert. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so confession. I'm not a very good baker, so a lot of my desserts that I do are raw because I'm just like, I'm going to blend it up, hope for the best, and put it in the freezer and wait a few hours. Literally, I haven't managed to get many things to rise. Even before I went vegan, I was like, was this egg even like real? Anyway, I don't know. So I would do something raw. I would probably do like a really. And I've been exposed to some of the best cacao while I've been in Central America, Guatemala. Oh, and we're gonna explore some Nicaraguan cacao very soon. So I'll probably bring back some cacao from Central America and make like a badass raw brownie. And then with some like banana ice cream on the side and something like some sprinkle of some kind. I don't know, something really simple, as you can tell, like just blended stuff.
That sounds delicious, and I will definitely make that this week. Yeah. I love brownies. Any excuse.
with some cardamom and a little bit of chili and a little bit of salt and good cacao, some nuts, dates, and the sweetener if you need. Yeah.
Usually the dates are sweet enough. That's what.
Yeah, I know. It's like when I said sweetener, I was like, wait, hold on, I've got dates. Don't need it. And vanilla.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Such a pleasure. And thank you. And guys, you can follow Francesca at Francesca Eats Roses on Instagram. If you want to find out more of her recipes, I will be making the date brownies this week. But she has loads of other gorgeous kind of recipes and beautiful, beautiful things to do with vegan lifestyle.